Well, I'm here with Charlie again today, and Charlie, I'm pretty excited about this. He calls me up the other day. It's probably 7:30 in the morning, and you're pretty pumped about this idea for a school. And you get talking about it, and the more and more you talk about this school, the more I'm like, man, this is something that I would love to go to. This is something that I have questions about that would really address it. And you asked X Factor to be involved a little bit, and man, the more we talk about it, I get really pumped about it. So Charlie, will you jump in and kind of tell me what your idea is for this school?
Yeah, yeah. I want to come up with a new, not really a new. I want to come up with a different type of school. I want to come up with when I go to the NFR, or when I read, all my fans will send you private messages on Facebook and things like that. And two of the biggest questions I get is how do I make it? How do I get to the next level? And then the next is, how do I get sponsors? And those are the two biggest questions that I get. And I want to have a 2.5-day school where I want 8 headers, and they can bring their healers for free if they want, or we'll have healers. We'll find out, how many healers. If somebody needs a healer, we'll get them a top quality healer here. And I want to have a 2.5-day school where we work on the fundamentals of roping, and we work on the fundamentals of horsemanship, and then we beat up the mentality of it. I want these kids to know, or these guys to know, like, what it takes to be successful. Whether their goals are to win the high school finals, the college finals, the RA finals, make it to any amateur finals, or even the NFR. I want to show them where my steps were that got me to the NFR. And because I can remember plain as day when I was struggling. When I first bought my card, it took me 10 years to make the NFR when I first got my card. And I remember just starving for information. What did it take for it to make the NFR? What did it take to win the amateur finals? What did it take to win the circuit? It was just a gradual step before I finally walked into my first NFR. And so I remember those days plain as day, and just starving for information. And I know, man, half these kids are the same way. Unless you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, and you get to where you're in front of those people that know how to be successful team roping, it's a bang your head against the wall frustration. And I want to bring in sponsors. I want to bring in classic ropes. I want in front of these guys, I want them to know, all right, what are these sponsors looking for in a roper? What are they not looking for in a roper? What they look for in their social media, what they don't look for in their social media. Get the sponsor's perspective, and to where you know how to get yourself in front of these people, and you know how to present yourself in a professional level. I'm going to bring in a vet and teach these kids how to mainline a horse, to where I want them to have a first aid kit with them, to where if they don't have no phone reception, and I want them to know the difference between a colic and a tie-up, and I want them to know how to doctor one of those before they leave. Because I just think those are basic principles that a guy should know, that because there's going to be times where they're not going to have phone service, or they're going to be hours away from a vet, and I think it'd just be good to be able to know those things.
Right, and I think that one thing too is bringing in people that specialize in different areas, bringing in classic, bringing in a vet, as well as you've talked in some various speakers, as well as touching on the mental game. One thing I really got out of it too that you're wanting to accomplish is a blueprint of how to get to the 1% of ropers. Like, this is what this is for. This is for 8 guys that their goal is to be in the top 1% of the headers. And it doesn't matter if they're young and they're wanting to win the high school finals, or if it's someone that could be it doesn't matter how old they are, but they want to be at a really, really high level. I know, Charlie, you really study all aspects of it. You're a guy that gets up early, goes to the gym. You'll be saddling when you get back. I mean, you take care of your body, you take care of your horses, as well as you take care of business out in the arena. So really giving a blueprint of that, I think that's really cool. So another couple deals that you talked to me about were how to take care of yourself. Can you kind of touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to start it on a Friday, to where it'll be a half day on Friday. We're gonna put everybody in front of a barrier. I'm gonna put it at even, and we're gonna have 2 runs where you try to get as close as you can from 8 seconds and under. And then another 2 runs at 7 flat and under. And then another 2 runs at 6 flat and under. And another 2 runs at 5 flat and under. I want to see where their strengths and their weaknesses are. And that's going to be day 1. We're going to come back, we'll study it, And the next morning we're going to come back, and 6 o'clock in the morning we're going to work out for an hour. We're going to do about 15 minutes cardio, 15 minutes abs, 15 minutes of shoulders, and 15 minutes of stretching. And I want these guys to know when they leave here how to take care of themselves. Biggest problems people have is lower back. I got back problems with that, and people's shoulders. You know, and just learn how. And then at 7 a.m., all right, now how much better do you feel? How much better do you feel mentally and physically, as opposed to thinking that you need to sleep in for another hour?
Right.
You know, I mean, that's something that's basic. That's good for your mind and good for your body. And then I want to next day come back. All right, where was our strengths? Where was our weaknesses? You know, were we good at 8 flat or were we bad at 8 flat? Were we good at 5 flat and bad at 8 flat? You know, let's find out what we're good at and let's find out what we need to work on. Because you're going to hit them points and times. In any kind of level you're at, you're going to have to be one of those numbers. You know, and just to be able to get in front of a barrier and work on it and video it and break it down. And all right, maybe your scoring wasn't that good. So the next day, that's what we're going to beat up. You know, we're just going to break down everything from the roping to the horsemanship to the mentality to just waking up and just feeling beast mode. You know, attacking the day, and to where that's where your practice got to come in. You've got to practice. You've got to beat it up. You've got to beat on that craft, and that's where motivation comes in. You've got to be able to get motivated because there's days you're not going to want to. I'm telling you. There's some lion out there that's going to be working at it and you're not, and he's going to catch you and he's going to beat you up. Right. And you've got to be ready for it.
Well, too, Charlie, I think it's so important to understand that you know you have so much discipline is how you go about it, and so much balance as well. You know, you're working on your body, working on all of these things, and how that all will flow together. That mental toughness that will give you by knowing that what it was. You went in the gym at 6 o'clock that morning, took care of business, then on to the next thing, as well as studying the mental game. You know, I think that's really important to understand is, you know, this is going to be I would say a pretty intense environment, and it will probably feel as close to competition as you could get, or even more so, because you're going to get feedback from guys where you might not in competition.
I'm telling you what, I'm excited for it. I'm going to be right there sparring with these kids. This is going to be great. I mean, there's a chance right here I get to see possible next world champion and who knows how many NFR qualifiers. You know, for me, that's fun. Right. You know, I'm excited for it. Fitting wise, they're going to come in and do the training part of it, and bring in some workbooks for them to lead with their for their training and working out, and then also a nutrition. You know, it's important too what you feed your body. You know, Twinkies and Pop-Tarts ain't going to produce nothing. You know, so to some of these guys, they don't know it. You know, I didn't know it until I got older too. You know, that's a big part of it. And just the fact that I can't wait I'm saddling up my horses and I'm going to rope right there with them. I'm going to show them what I'm looking for on a start. I'm going to be making mistakes probably right there with them too. But I'm telling you, I mean, this is going to be fun for me and fun for them. And I just think that, like I said, we're looking for the 1%. We're looking for the guys that want to get better. And I mean, not that some of the beginners don't want to get better, but I just want to take it to another level. Right. And I want the guys that I mean, whether they're broke or whether they have opportunity, that somebody in their situation, somebody in their category has made it to the NFR. I want to bring that out of them.
Well, and I think that's it. Is the goal is to find someone that you can be from. It doesn't matter. You can be from Idaho, where there's not a ton of rodeoing, and
you can be from Canby, Oregon, to Brazil.
Right. You know. And you're looking to reverse engineer it. You're going to be able to give your feedback of how we want to, what our situation is, and then how to put ourselves in a successful situation where we can make the NFR or whatever that goal may be. And I think that's got me so intrigued about it is if I want to work on, it doesn't matter if I want to work on just my scoring or my mental game or my focus. I can get that aspect out of it. Or if it's, I get burnt out in the middle of August. Why is this happening? Mm-hmm. And you can go, it might be, you know, you've ate like crap and lived in a truck for 60 days now, and your mentality and everything starts getting lower. I don't have enough money. I need to be able to get sponsors, and I need to be able to represent myself. Mm-hmm. You'll learn all of these things, as well as you'll get some feedback and some connections, as well as how to continue and improve your situation. And that's really got me excited about it. You know, you talked about improving the mental game or working on the mental game. Can you kind of get into that with me a little bit too?
Well, I think it's so important that motivation to me comes from that's what's got to get your ass in the practice pen. Right. That's what's got to get you in there and keep you in there and beating up your weaknesses and understanding what your strengths are. And to me, that's where the grind right there can get, you can get burnt out. Just face it, you know. I mean, if a guy's just practicing the same thing over and over again, you can get burnt out. Problem is you need to get motivated, and you need to start studying yourself. You need to start getting, if it's too easy, then you need to get around guys who rope better. And if you're wanting to get to that next level, then there's always ways to get better and work and beat on that craft right there and grind.
Right.
And then when you get to the competition, that's where your practice has to come through. And just having the mentality is that your performance is a reflection of your practice. So if I'm getting my butt kicked at the rodeo or the rope and something's going on the practice pin, and I want to show these guys just the mentality and the intelligence that you need to bring just to your mind. You know, you need to get smarter. You know, this ain't nothing for dummies. You know, you need to know how to enter. You need to know how to you know, talk to yourself. Self-talk is huge. You know, if you're going in there and you're self-doubting yourself, you're going to probably fail. But if you're going in there and you don't have to tell yourself you're the baddest son of a gun there. I don't need arrogance. I want guys who believe in themselves. I want to show guys how to believe in themselves. So when they get there, they don't have to tell themselves that they're better than everybody else. They're focusing on their fundamentals and their subconscious and just letting their practice come out.
Right.
Because you've got to be able, when you get there, just like tying your shoelaces and having a conversation at the same time. That's working two sides of the brain. Right. And when you get the competition, you need to focus on the start, and your practice needs to come as soon as you leave and get your start right there. That's where your practice comes in.
Well, and I think that's one thing. I go back to, you know, one of the first times I ever roped with you. We talked about that for I don't know how long, but you've studied it. You've really have beat it up. You've read tons and tons of books and know how to take your mind and understand how to get it in a spot where it's consistent over time. And to do that, exactly what you're saying, as far as take your practice to the competition and don't let the moment be too big or too small. And there's so many guys that's one thing that they run into. You see a lot of talent, and then when they get into competition, it's not as consistent.
Absolutely. And you know, you see guys that the first three steers look like a completely different roper than they did in the short round. They didn't lose talent. That was mentality. That was a mental game. And more times than not, if you focus on missing and what not to do, your body's going to tighten up and you're going to look like a completely different roper.
Right.
If you're telling yourself what to do, your body will relax, because then it's able to do what it knows to do. You just got to trust yourself and trust your practice. And it is hard. If you go to missing 4 in a row, it can happen out there rodeo. You've got to learn how to not magnify every little situation, or it's not going to happen.
Right.
You've got to learn to just, all right, if I need to rope the dummy a little more, you need to know why you miss. You need to know why you do what you do. Because then when you do that, then it doesn't matter what some guy tells you from the caddy shack or whatever, or from the grandstands, because they can throw you off. There ain't nothing harder than going in the box right there, high team back. Someone says, all right, don't miss. What's the last thing you just heard? Don't miss. You know, oh gosh, you know, as opposed to in one ear and out the other. I know what I do. I know how to catch. I know what I'm going to do right here. This is the start I'm going to see. This is the spot I'm going to get to. This is the steer I'm going to turn. This is what I'm going to do.
Right.
And that mentality right there is way easier than, gosh, don't miss. Gosh, don't wave it off. You know, God, you know, this double, overthinking everything and double, questioning yourself on everything you do. And God, that's a tough spot to be in. But it can be. That's what I want to teach these guys. It can be overdone. I went through all that. And everyone still struggles with it. You got to be, but you can control your mind. And when you understand that, and you start getting into a habit of doing that, and you can still hang with these guys, I think.
Oh, I agree with you 100% there. And the other thing that's going to be really neat is where it's limited to 8 headers, just 8 headers. Your time will be really focused, as well as whoever else comes in will be focused on whatever you need. So you'll have plenty of time to set up, like, hey, this is, you might even want to write down, this is what I've been doing in competition. This is what some blocks that I need to talk to Charlie about. And then you'll get, we'll come here and work on it and get through those things. And as you progress, you'll be available. You offer coaching on X Factor, and then you'll know these guys. It'll be a real simple deal. It might just be like, hey, Charlie, will you watch this video? I feel like this happened. And you can kind of stay in touch with them and continue to work on it. And it'll be cool because you'll know where they're at. If it might be something mental that they're going to want to work on, or if it's something with their horsemanship or whatever it is. And I think that's going to be really unique to not just have the school for this couple of days, you'll be able to prepare for it, and then you'll have a blueprint of what it will take in all of these aspects, as well as be able to follow up with you on certain little deals that may arise. And I think that that's what's going to be so special.
And that's one of the things too that I want them to bring their healers. We're not gonna slow the healing down. We're not gonna work on the timing, or I'm not gonna show them any swings, anything like that. Because if one team does really good, I want to get the next guy in there. And so I just want this to be a real fast, up-tempo place for the headers right there. But what I want the headers to also, that's why I want them to bring their healers in. I want them to learn how to communicate with their healers.
Right.
You're going to have to throw some pride out the window and ask them, all right, what did that feel like there? Well, it felt like it was too fast, or what did that feel like? Oh, it felt like the steer hung in there right there. And then watch the run and be able to kind of communicate together and to be able to build on a run. That's important right there, to be able to communicate enough to where maybe your style doesn't fit this guy. Or maybe you're going to have to do this to make it a little bit more comfortable. And then I'm telling you, if you can get that done, then you're going to be able to get a lot more healers that want to heal for you if you can stay in control and give a good handle and make it easy to read. Maybe your healer's shoving them too much in front of you when you're breaking to the pin. So all those, that's just ways to communicate that I think is going to be, like I say, those are things you just don't get to do of anywhere else I can think of.
Right. Well, it'll be cool too, because Charlie will be here with his guy that he's roping with. You're going to have the box set up at various pro rodeo starts with realistic rodeo cattle, and you'll be able to watch Charlie practice with his guy, and at the same time you can work on your run as well. And that's what's going to be so unique, is you're going to be riding your good horses, and you can see where you're stacking up and how your run looks against an NFR team's run. And I think that that's going to be so important to understand.
And one of the last things too I want to break down is I want, for the guys that are wanting to get their cards and things like that, we'll call into Procom. I'll explain to them, what to ask for, how to check on numbers, how to go through the grace period after the books close, things like that. Help walk them through how to pay their fees online, anything like that we need to some of the guys need help with. And then on Sunday, what I want to do is we'll go ahead and go to that NFR arena.
Right.
And then we'll go down to, we'll put the NFR start on there, we'll put the barrier up, we'll go from 6 flat to 5 flat to 4 flat.
I think that would be really cool.
I think they'd have a blast right there, getting to see what that NFR, that Thomas and Mack feels like. Because like I said, where else can you think of that you can go to school and work on that too? So I think that'll be a lot of fun for everybody. Because that's the goal. I'll bet you the 1% of these kids, I guarantee you, that's the goal, is to get in that little arena.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it'd be a blast to go in there for a day and go knock some runs out.
And I think what's so cool about that arena too is when you say go 6 flat, what happens when it is round 10? Corey Petska, Eric Rogers this year have to knock him down to win the world. Or when you've got to win go rounds and be able to control the speeds, I think that's pretty cool. We're going to be setting up all types of the set. I mean, if longer scores to the NFR and see where you're at, because there's a big difference in a guy's game between a small arena and the big arena. And
it took me forever. It took me forever to figure out how to rope in them tight arenas and stuff. So, like I said, this ain't nothing that I don't work on myself, or something that I ain't been through. So.
Yeah, and once again, you're looking for the 1%, the guys that are wanting to be in the 1%. So, if you're amateur rodeo and pro rodeo and young kid, and you want to know what it takes to rope for a living and get a blueprint of what it takes, that's the whole goal of this, is to have that. We're not going to be spending a lot of time on basics. It's going to be pretty advanced stuff, or how to get to an advanced level in a correct timeline and a realistic timeline.
Yes. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm excited for it. I can't wait to spar with them, and I think it's just going to be something that I would like to do a couple times a year. I'd love to do one in the fall, and I'd love to do one in the spring. And I just want to see what the response is. Let's see if this is going to take off or whether it's not. But I think it's going to be fun for me, and I think it's going to be, like I say, just a chance that you might see the next up and coming kid and to be able to help them out. I think that's why we're down here.
Well, and you're going to find out who is. I mean, and that's the other thing, if you're looking for that competition and where you're stacking up, this would be a great spot. Also, Charlie and Jackie, they do tons of schools here. So it's set up, RV hookups, everything. There's going to be great cattle, stalls. Stephenville's 12 miles away or something, so there's town, whatever you need.
If it rains, we'll have an arena set up. So.
Yep, and so everything will kind of be it's being used right now. In fact, there's goat tires running around everywhere over here. So
Goat tires and breakaway roses all over the place right now, like 20 kids and 40 parents.
Charlie,
we're hiding in the tack room right now.
I think it's a great idea. I'm super excited about it. I love the idea of that. So is there anything you want to add?
Man, we'll just work on being able to get, where they can contact me, things like that, either via Facebook or text message, and start writing down a list. And it'll be $1,000 for 2.5 days, whether they want to split some of it with their healers. Healers are welcome to come in on the workbooks. We're going to have a mental toughness workbook. I want them to be a part of it too. So I think, like I said, I just want to make sure that when it comes down to breaking the heading down, that we can keep it a fast-paced tempo. But I think the healer's going to get a lot out of this too. To be able to develop a run together, and I want to see them too when they leave here that they feel like they can tackle the world too. So
Right.
I think it'll be fun for both ends.
Bringing a team in. Yep, I agree with that. I think it's a great value. Charlie, I'm real excited about it. I think it'll be
Yeah, I am too.
a great opportunity.